Every 2 years, in mid-September, Aalen steps back in time to tell the amazing story of its origins in the 2nd century AD. In those days, Aalen was part of the Roman Empire. The historic town of Aalen lies 100 kilometers to the northeast of Stuttgart in southern Germany. A good deal of its charm comes from its carefully protected half-timbered houses, typical of the Baden-Württemberg region. Close to 300 history enthusiasts are about to take part in a festival that will bring Aalen's Roman past back to life. Over 2 days, the festival will present a wide range of historical reconstructions. It opens with an ancient ritual. The Romans venerated a vast assortment of male and female deities and spirits. They regularly invoked their aid by offering up sacrifices and gifts. In the 2nd century, this region was called Rhaetia and was one of the 44 Roman provinces. The Roman Empire was then at the peak of its power, stretching from the Mediterranean to northern Europe. A boundary known as limes limitis separated the empire from the rest of the world. The northern boundary, which passed just north of Aalen, was built between the Rhine and the Danube. A wall dotted by watchtowers formed the border. A wall dotted by watchtowers every 500 meters formed the border. The Romans had built 60 military encampments along its length. Many merchants and tradesmen set up shop around the camps in order to take advantage of the soldiers' presence. And that is how Aalen and other towns like it came into being. The Aalen Museum specializes in the history of the limes and exhibits a wide range of objects in daily use and military items such as the ceremonial masks worn by the horsemen for the jousts. To ensure realism, the museum offers children replicas of costumes and parlor games. Every 2 years, museum curator Ulrich Sauerborn organizes Europe's largest get-together of Roman history enthusiasts.
Aalen was extremely important from an historical standpoint. It was established in 150 AD to house Rome's largest cavalry troop north of the Alps. The camp was spread over a large area. Here in this Roman-built military camp, the castrum, there were 1,000 cavalrymen and as many horses.
On the day before the festival, each group sets up camp. Alexander comes from a village close to Stuttgart.
I'm here with a small group representing the Octava Augusta Legion. I play the part of a Centurion, so I'm the group commander. We'll all be in full dress tomorrow. I'm just wearing a simple tunic today, but tomorrow I'll be wearing my armor, my helmet, and all the rest of a Legion commander's equipment.
Christiane is an economics student. She's extremely interested in this period and has joined Alexander's group. This is a perfect opportunity for Christiane to share a common interest with her friends. Tonight, they'll all be sleeping in tents.
The soldiers slept under canvas like this. We use tents identical to those used by the Romans.
Little by little, the atmosphere and decorum of ancient days take over the camp. The highly enthusiastic participants are now dressed Roman style and making final adjustments to their equipment. Last-minute touches are being put to Christian's hair. As there were no glass mirrors at that time, polished metal was used. She's wearing a bun on the nape of her neck, as was the custom for young girls of the period. Everyone has entered into the spirit of the occasion and invented an imaginary life. A nurse has become a weaver, a computer technician, the legion's cook. In reality, the soldiers' daily diet consisted of little other than bread, lard, and a portion of cheese. At the Aalen High School, the students are also getting ready to relive history. They are preparing a Roman-style procession under the supervision of their Latin teacher. They are learning that the togas and tunics worn by the Romans were not stitched garments. They were simply rectangular pieces of cloth pinned onto the shoulders with brooches.
We're experiencing Roman culture through the clothes of the period. We feel like Romans, but we're not used to walking barefooted. We really enjoy it though. It's tremendous fun. The toga praetexta was the garment worn by the men representing the state. It was worn on all important occasions. Businessmen, for example, wore them when discussing important business with their clients. It was called the toga praetexta. It was the garment of state, and here's our senator. I am a Roman German, which means that I'm from one of the Roman provinces. You can see that from the German peplos I'm wearing. It's made from a rougher fabric than the Roman tunic.
On the site of Aalen's Roman camp, ancient crafts are being rediscovered.
The wool was spun and then dyed with different natural substances, such as plants, flowers and roots. The most commonly used dyes were onion skins for ochre brown, chamomile for bright yellow, and bracken for green. This is a typical Roman necklace of the 2nd or 3rd century, made from silver and precious stones. We use the same stones as the Romans, emeralds or beads, that we combine with gold. Garnets and carnelians were also held in high regard. Each type of stone had a special significance for the Romans. Amethyst, for example, were used to help curb drunkenness.
The soldiers are getting ready for the parade. In Roman days, there was no such thing as a standard uniform, since the soldiers had to buy their own weapons and armor. Here in Aalen, most participants have created their own uniforms, such as the loricatus, a suit of armor made from strips of metal. The Octava Augusta Legion, to which Alexander referred, was posted to Aalen to build the camp and the border fortifications. During their service in the army, to which they were bound for a minimum of 20 years, the soldiers were taught building skills. The stones were moved into place using a system similar to the one we see here. The fortifications were built using stone from the region, known by experts worldwide for its geological interest. Aalen gave its name to the Aalenian period in the Jurassic Age. Ulrich, a highly knowledgeable amateur archaeologist, enjoys unearthing treasures from the past, some of them over 140 million years old.
This was once the bed of a fossilized sea, so each stone we break could contain a fossil. And we often get a nice surprise, as when we come across a shark tooth or a sea urchin, for example.
This is one of the rare quarries open to the public. Anyone can come here to add to his or her collection.
This one's come out all in one piece, like this. It's superb with its shell. This is the sort of thing we look for.
Try to imagine that once there was a really immense sea here. It reached right up to there and covered a vast area. Everything that I find was once living, and now they're sitting in my display case.
The most interesting pieces found in the region are painstakingly restored and then placed in the Aalen Museum.
This crocodile lived in the age when there was a sea here, some 180 or 190 million years ago. It's absolutely unbelievable. You could almost say it's a living fossil that's been set free by releasing it from its bed of stone.
Only a short distance from Aalen, Christian is visiting the ancient Roman baths.
The baths were much more important for the Romans than for us, and they played a significant role in their social life. It was here that they passed on the latest news, met up with their friends, talked business or simply relaxed.
Roman baths usually had a gym, a restaurant, a library and shops. The former atmosphere has been restored in Aalen's thermal baths. This tiny swimming pool is almost identical to the original. To one side is the frigidarium.
This is the cold water pool. I should go in, but it is far too cold for me. The water temperature is only 14 degrees.
The Baden-Württemberg region has long been renowned for its spas. There are more thermal establishments here than in any other German region. In addition to the baths, the spas are equipped with color therapy lounges. On Saturday evening in the camp, Alexander and his friends are settling into their temporary lives as Romans.
I'm fascinated by the fact that the Romans were highly advanced in such fields as logistics and handicrafts, as well as in many other areas. We very much enjoy getting to grips with their knowledge.
Alexander is a blacksmith. For the last 15 years, he's been making weapons and armor for his friends. They are perfect replicas of Roman equipment based on models found by studying bas-relief and books on history.
I made my first coat of mail just after leaving school. Each link in the coat is only 7 millimeters long. and there are 30,000 of them. It takes around 200 hours to make a coat like this. And I've also made other pieces, like this two-edged sword, for example. Suits of armor, helmets, everything your legionary needs.
The blacksmiths benefited from a region that was rich in iron. This mine, a few kilometers from Aalen, was in operation up until 1939. In 1987, it was converted into a museum in honor of the miners.
170 years back, everything was done by hand, and the miners' work was incredibly difficult. They only had the most basic tools. Look how solid the walls are. It's really quite beautiful.
These days, the mine is being exploited again, but for something entirely different. It is now a speleotherapy center. The quality of the totally dust and pollen-free air enables it to be used as a treatment center for people with asthma, bronchitis, and allergy problems.
The asthma therapy is excellent. It's not too cold. I'm very comfortable wrapped in my duvet, and I have no trouble sleeping here.
Saint Barbara, the patron saint of miners, now watches over the patients. Cast iron sculpture is a typical craft of the region. The Foundry, established in Aalen in the 14th century, preserves this old tradition. This craftsman is working on a family coat of arms. The first step is to make a sand moulding to take an impression of the model. The melted iron is poured into receptacles and then into the holes in the mould. The iron fills the spaces left by the print of the model. The piece is then taken from the mould and revealed in all its splendor. It is Sunday, and the Aalen festival is in full swing. The crafts village is attracting big crowds. Throughout the day, visitors can watch a series of military demonstrations. This implement of war is called a ballista. The projectiles weighed from 20 to 25 kilos and could hit a target at a distance of more than 200 meters. They worked on the same principle as the crossbow. This weapon uses a more rudimentary catapult system. When launching an attack, the soldiers advanced in what was known as Tortoise formation. It was a sort of protective shell that enabled them to move towards the enemy and position their ladders for the assault. Back in the craft village, wheat is being ground in a mill. The crushed wheat was made into cakes of bread, the staple element of the Roman soldier's diet. Here we see a reconstruction of a scribe's workplace. In Roman times, scribes wrote on sheets of papyrus or cowhide parchment. The ink was made from soot. Another support was made by pouring beeswax onto wooden tablets darkened by soot and resembling a writing slate.
As there wasn't much room to write, the writing was erased using the tip of this instrument, or by heating up this one. It was heated in the fire and passed over the slate, and this was the result.
A group of Italian enthusiasts comes to Aalen for each festival. Here they are reenacting a marriage ceremony.
Con questo dono agli dei ilari lascio dietro di me gli anni dei giochi e vedo davanti a me il tempo della vita coniugale.
I represent the Flamen Dialis, a priest from the capital of Jupiter. We are performing the marriage ceremony according to Catullus of the 1st century BC.
Invoco te, o Imeneo, figlio di Apollo e di Urania, e sia la loro unione fausta, felice e feconda.
The married couple shares a piece of cake to seal their union and that of their families.
O Imeneo, noi ti invochiamo in questo giorno di gioia.
Feliciter!
Liebe!
Feliciter!
Alexander is extremely interested in the cultural wealth the Romans had acquired from their vast empire.
I find it fascinating that the harmonization of Roman thought and knowledge was something quite natural. This is what we are attempting to recreate with the European Union. In those times, there was a well-functioning mix of cultures and knowledge from the Near East to England, from Germany to southern Italy, and as far as North Africa. It's extremely interesting. And that's what we want to share during the festival.
The gladiator fights held in amphitheaters were a typical entertainment of the day. They were criminals, prisoners of war, or sometimes professional fighters. There were several types of gladiator, the most humble of which was the retiarius. He fought with equipment similar to that of a fisherman, a net to entrap his victim, and a trident, the symbol of Neptune. the Aalen Romans are perpetuating the memory of the soldiers of the Limes Limites. Thanks to UNESCO, this ancient boundary of the Roman Empire is now part of World Heritage.